Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about a possible tornado setup for tomorrow across parts of the southern US and maybe as far north as the Ohio River Valley. So let's get right into it. We'll start off by looking at the simulated radar for tomorrow. This is at around noon, and we can see some storms/showers ongoing from Arkansas all the way up into Indiana, but it takes until about 3 p.m. for more robust storms to develop. We can see possible supercells from Kentucky down close to Mississippi, and it's these kind of stronger storms with heavier rain that could be tornado producers. Even if this is a little bit more of a linear mode developing, we could see embedded supercells capable of producing tornadoes. Moving on to around 6 o'clock, we can see sort of linear mode trying to develop, especially in areas like Tennessee and Kentucky. But we do see still some semi-discrete activity back in Mississippi here, where we have some supercells trying to develop here along the northern half of the state. Then we see some possible prefrontal supercells from Alabama all the way up towards maybe Kentucky. And I'd definitely be watching these prefrontal storms because they could be discrete and capable of producing tornadoes with a chance for maybe even a strong tornado or two. We'll take a look at soundings in a second to say why I think that. And then by around 9 o'clock, storm mode becomes even more messy, with maybe some semi-discrete activity remaining, particularly further south. So our first sounding is going to be from southeastern Arkansas, and here it is. So first thing right off the bat is pretty steep low-level lapse rates of around 7.2 degrees Celsius per kilometer. That is definitely favorable for tornadoes. However, we do see a little bit of a temperature inversion here. See how this red line is pretty straight and then it bounces up a little bit? That could prevent storms from initiating too early, and that might increase the tornado threat because it'll prevent storm mode from being too messy, if that makes sense. Going over to our photographs, if we do get some storms that initiate this early, which is certainly possible, maybe even likely, photographs do look somewhat favorable for tornadoes. Not a lot of curvature, a little bit wonky too. However, I would still say there is a tornado threat further back here. This next sounding is from basically the Nashville area at around 6 p.m. You can see a little bit less instability. You can see also more moisture, but also a little bit of a surface temperature inversion. I'm not sure what that's about, but it does slightly decrease the lapse rates in the low levels, which are already a little bit on the lower side, 6 degrees Celsius per kilometer. That is enough for tornadoes, but it's not on the higher side. Going over to our photographs, though, they do look a little bit more favorable. If there is a little bit of wonkiness maybe in here. But yeah, pretty straight photographs. You don't always need a ton of curvature in the photographs, though, to produce tornadoes. So I definitely think there is a tornado threat in an environment with a sounding like this. And our last sounding is from basically central Alabama, a little bit later in the night. We can see dew point spreads, not going to be a problem. Instability, a little bit on the weaker side, but still favorable for severe weather. Our photographs, though, they do have probably the most curvature that we've seen. But in terms of speed shear, it's just not very much. 0 to 1 kilometer shear of only around 24. But some tornadoes will be possible there for sure. So this is my outlook for tornadoes for tomorrow. So I have a level 1 risk area from northeastern Louisiana up into Kentucky. And basically what this means is that I think there's a pretty good chance of a few tornadoes tomorrow. I did consider adding a level 2 risk area. That probably would have been for parts of Tennessee. But I just don't think that the photographs have enough low-level shear, particularly directional shear. And overall, they just looked slightly wonky. However, I still think that a strong tornado or two cannot be ruled out with a setup like this, especially if we see models trend towards a more significant severe weather threat tomorrow. But I still think that the risk won't be super high. And the Storm Prediction Center seems to agree with me. They also have a similar risk area out with a 5% risk area from basically northern Louisiana up into southern Kentucky. And you can see that my risk area is a little bit further to the north and east. And that's because models have been trending to a more north and east severe weather threat. This forecast by the National Weather Service is the latest one, but it was issued late this morning. So if I was making this forecast this morning, I might have issued a similar risk area. But models have been trending towards this more northeastern threat, extending it into Kentucky and removing it a little bit from Louisiana and Arkansas. So that's going to do it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.